Welcome to the XYZ Experiment Podcast. I am here with Luke, our Gen Z, Fiona, our Gen X, and I'm Dash, your Gen Y. And today we are recording the last episode for season 8, and then we'll be taking a little bit of a break, but it will give you an opportunity to listen to some of our back catalogue while we are on break. And because we are going to be heading on break, we thought this would be a good episode to tell you some recommendations we have for books, TVs and movie shows, TV and movies, and experiences we've had in case they are things that you would like to do while you're not listening to us. So I might get started in terms of a book I'm currently reading, which I haven't finished reading, but it has got me absolutely engrossed in a book. So usually when I'm reading, I only read like maybe 20 or 30 pages at a time. But with this book, I can tell I'm really interested in it because I'm reading like whole chunks, at least 100 pages in one go. It is Names by Florence Knapp. And basically the premise is that a mum and her young daughter go to name their newborn son, and there's 3 different options. They've been told to name him Gordon because that's the family name, but the mum wants to name him Julian and the sister wants to name him Bear. And so it follows this life trajectory of the family for each of the different names that
like a sliding doors.
like a sliding doors.
Ah,
And it is incredible. So each chunk this is what happens if the baby was named Bear, Julian, or Gordon. And then 7 years later, Bear, Julian, Gordon. 7 years later, Bear, Julian, Gordon.
oh wow.
I know.
That would be incredible to read something like that. What was
I
it called
know.
again? Say it again.
The names or
Yeah.
names?
No,
Yeah.
no, the book.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Named.
Names.
Names. Okay.
Cool.
Wow.
By Florence Knapp. Um, and it's called The Names, sorry. Um, but it is incredible, and it does deal with some pretty big societal issues. So I will just
hmm
put it out there. It is a domestic violence story,
hmm hmm
in case people need that in their
Mm.
knowledge bank, but it is an incredible story.
I've never heard a story like that before, as in written in a book. That's the first
Yeah.
time I've had that sort of concept as a book.
And I think that's one of the reasons I like it, because there's a
Mm.
different narrative form of reading. So, it's not often that you come across a totally different rethinking of how you tell a story. So I really enjoy it and highly recommend.
And when you're
Is
reading it, is it because you're reading 100 pages because you want to see all 3 names
I
in
want to
that
see
age
all
group?
3.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah, you
pretty
want to see it
much.
all in that age group.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it means I just can't put it down until
Go.
I've read
Oh my
all
God,
of it.
what's happened to Gordon and
Yeah.
what's happened to Bear and
Yeah.
oh my God, what's happened to Julian?
Yeah, exactly. But also the family members around them
Yes.
are talked about. So it's, yeah, highly, highly recommend.
is it in
Wow.
first person or is it like a narrator?
Um, oh my God, that's a good question. How do I not know this since I'm reading it? No, it's not in first person because they switch between characters, I think.
Yeah.
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 Um, and the sister in it has a fairly strong voice too.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So what about you guys?
So I read a book a little while ago. It's called Hidden Pictures by Jason Rikulak, and I know I sent you to read this too, Dash. It's not a huge book. It's quite a small book, and it's a book that I my husband had recommended to me, and I could not put it down. And I mean that I read it over a 24-hour period or 2-day period. I just could not put this book down. And it's about a woman who takes on a job babysitting, and she's babysitting this child, and not a baby, but a child that sort of how old would they be? 10,
9,
11? Yeah, around
10?
that sort
Yeah.
of age. And this child keeps drawing all of these pictures which is showing some really disturbing stuff, and it's got a supernatural element to it, and it's scary and it's a little bit of horror, but it was I couldn't put it down. I just couldn't put it down. I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Did you love it, Dash? Did you love it
I
too?
Well, I was worried when you recommended it because I
Yeah,
don't generally like scary
yeah,
horror books. I don't even know why I then bought it. Anyway, I did buy it and I read it in like one sitting.
yeah,
I
Wow.
yeah.
stayed up and read it. I was so engrossed. And maybe that is the thing with like supernatural horror is you
Mm,
have to keep reading because you're like, oh
mm.
my God, what happens next? Oh
Yeah,
my God.
what
And like,
goes next?
like when does it calm down enough to stop? And I
Yeah,
didn't feel like it did.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Was
just
it more
crazy.
tense or scary?
Tense. A
Yeah.
lot of tenseness to it. A lot of I think it was made to a movie. There'd be a lot of jump scares, that's for sure.
Was it really?
Yeah, yeah, I think there would be. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, like when she's in a house and yeah, because she lives in a separate little house at in the backyard as well with a lot of forestry around it. So there's a lot of sort of I think there's a
Mm,
lot of sort of jump scares in it and things like that. Yeah, yeah, I really liked it. I really liked it.
Are you
it's
normally
definitely.
someone that reads stuff like that,
Yeah.
Fee?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I don't like a lot of horror. I'm not a horror person, but I like a lot of supernatural for sure. Supernatural, like I like it in my movies, my books, my TV series. So for sure. Yeah.
Hmm.
How about you, Luke?
I recently finished a book called 100 Years of Solitude by
Uh,
Gabriel Garcia Marquez,
yeah.
and I loved it. So like the real basic premise of it is that it's following I think 7 or 8 generations of one family, the Buendia family, but at the same time as following this family over decades and decades, it's also following the first in the line of the family. They establish a new town called like village called Macondo. And so you're following not only a family and its subsequent generations, but also generations of the town.
Ah, yes.
And it's a magical realism piece. So what that means is that it feels like initially it's just like it's fiction, but it's set in our world.
Mm,
But then little bits of color, little bits of kind of, I guess, supernatural, you might even say, creep in, and all of a sudden it takes you away from the world you think you're in, and then you come back. And it's really, really kind of mesmerizing. What, when I was reflecting on my kind of final thoughts of it, not only do I think I love it, the language in it is like superb, but I actually was thinking to myself, and I don't know why I went here, but if someone were to come to me and say, "Oh, I loved the Game of Thrones series. What's a good recommendation for someone that likes that?" I would actually say this book
Oh, really?
because I think one, I kind of, I wouldn't say that this like it was just Game of Thrones that made this the 2010s, but I feel like Game of Thrones was one of those first series that was in the 2010s, super gritty, super suspenseful, and this idea of like, oh, this is realistic because everyone can die, right? That's what
Mm,
people were really drawn to. It's like, we can't trust that this is going to follow the conventional fantasy tropes that we have grown accustomed to. And I feel like this book, because it's about like these people who knows when, not much technology, establishing a village in like the South American jungle, right? Like anything can happen.
yeah.
And, one of the things that it also follows is like the development of morality as well. And so as a result of that, just the things that happen and they happen in a sentence, you're like, whoa, but no one else is like shocked by it because that's what life is like. And so the language is beautiful, the setting is beautiful, but there's this almost level of, I don't want to use the word savagery, but there is that level of just like the way that death is, I guess, used as a narrative convention is very, very different to what you'd expect now. And so I just think that anyone that likes that type of stuff, they would love this.
So how did you pick up this book? Like, was that recommended to you?
I That's a really good question. And when I was first starting my job as a psychologist and I was building up my client load, I had a lot of like free time. And I was asking my supervisor, like, what are some really good psychology books to read and like to pick up? And one thing that I love my supervisor, one thing that she kind of talked about where there were three different types of books that can help you. One is like textbooks and books that help you with your administration of psychology and like your understanding of it. Another group is books that are good references that you can give, or like resources you can give to clients. And another is just fiction, because good fiction can express like the human condition better than anything. And she just said, look, if you want some good reading, go back to the classics.
Oh, because I was
And
going to say it is a classic in a sense.
yeah, and I think when I was studying my like doing my Bachelor of Arts in undergrad and I was doing a lot of literature studies, I was doing a lot of op shopping at the same time and picking up those books you can pick up for like $2 at like an op shop because
Yeah.
there's so many editions of them. They're so common. And so I'd gone back over the holidays to my back to Melbourne to my parents' place, and I just have like every major classic book over the last like 200 years that I just have never read. And so I just picked one to bring back here, and it happened to be that one.
There you go.
Ah.
But you guys have both read it, but it sounds like neither of you can really remember it.
So I probably read it 2000, probably when it came out, actually. It would have been about 2010, 2011. And maybe that's the other, like I read a lot of classics, but these days, and probably for a long time, I read current books. Like they're the new
Mm,
releases or books where you go into the bookstore and they're kind of like have a little bit of a write up, but they wouldn't be more than 4 years old usually. So I haven't gone back. And yes, I do remember liking it at the time. It was a book club book. I remember like you said, enjoying the writing incredibly, but I just can't remember the storyline that well.
it's a lot to remember. It's 8 generations of families,
Yeah,
and they've all got the same name, so that also makes it really hard.
I do remember that. And I remember I had to jot down like on a piece of paper who was who.
Yeah, there's a family tree at the beginning of my edition, and I'm thumbing back to that constantly.
So interesting.
Is it a book that you'd go back and reread, Dash, now that, Luke's talked about it? Or is it like, no, I've read that and I want new experiences?
I probably wouldn't reread it.
Yeah,
Um, and it's actually a new thing that I've been thinking about is I'm getting rid of some of my books because I was like, is this a book I'll reread?
yeah.
Or is it time to kind of put it in an op shop or
Mm,
gift it to other people? So there's probably only a very small handful of books that I will actually reread.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
why I love my Kindle.
That's
Mm.
They're all on there. I don't have to.
I've I've kind of also like divided like physical books that I keep to like kind of two like areas. One is books that like I really enjoy and I enjoy reading it, and like I can at night if I want to reread a book I can wind down to this book and reread it.
Mm,
And the other is like a reference book because I enjoy writing and I'm trying to do a little bit more of it, and I'm like, this writing is so amazing and inspiring that I want to keep it so that I can reread chunks of it and be like, yep, that's what good writing is. I think that this book will be kept for that second purpose.
oh yeah. Yep, yep. I
Do
can see that.
you underline passages or anything like that in a book?
I don't. I will write down like a page number and I'll write
Mm,
down quotes,
mm,
but rarely do I. I know people do it and I get it, but for me, I think it's a little bit jarring.
mm.
I take photos of passages I like and then post it on
Mm.
Instagram.
I only asked because recently one of my brother-in-laws, I had a look at a book that he had, and he had anecdoted it everywhere.
Mm.
Like really like highlighting passages, underlining, writing in the margins, like
Wow.
yeah, 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 really. That's how and apparently that's how he reads all his books like that. He's a very deep thinker and he's a professor, so that probably has a lot to do with
Yeah.
it as well. I think he's quite the philosophy student, but it's really like I was really stunned. And I know this sounds really weird, but I looked at it and I thought, you've desecrated the book,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I would feel.
which is crazy
Yeah.
because you read it and you get rid of it half the time, but But yeah, it's just that was my very first reaction was like, oh my God, you've written all over this book.
But I would also find it hard because I do give my books away to family members and friends
Yeah.
that I wouldn't necessarily want them to know what I'd annotated
Yeah,
or
yeah,
Mm,
what you put on
underlined.
it. Yeah.
So interesting,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
interesting. Well, what about TV shows or movies that you have watched recently
Oh my
or that you would just like to recommend in general?
I'm obsessed at the moment by two TV shows. One is The Burrows, which is
Yes.
on Netflix, which I have really enjoyed, really, really enjoyed. And the second one is Widow's Bay, which is on Apple, but it's not finished yet. Both are supernatural. Oh my God, I've really enjoyed them.
I'm
The
sensing a pattern
Burrows,
here.
yeah, 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 always. The Burrows is about a retirement home and a community out in the middle of sort of nowhere in the middle of the desert and what happens to that community. It's really fascinating. I don't want to give away too much because it really gives the story away, but it's something which I just watched episode after episode after. I'm so glad all of them were put in. The other one, Widow's Bay, is about an island, and the island is cursed. And you can't, if you were born on the island and you leave the island, you will die because it's all part of this curse. And that episode just drops one every week, which I wish they dropped the whole lot because I'm just dying to know the end.
Oh,
But
goodness.
that has really been like, oh my God, like I've just enjoyed it so much. I think just because they've been a little bit different to what's been out there recently. I don't like all the romance stuff and all that sort of stuff. I prefer this sort of stuff. So so yes, The Burrows and Widow's Bay are my two recommendations at the moment.
Amazing.
With your, because this is the third supernatural suspense related
Hmm.
recommendation today.
Hmm.
When it comes to like sitting down and enjoying like media, whatever that is,
Hmm.
do you do you tend to want ones that are a little bit more like kind of thought-provoking and kind of get you riled up, or do you prefer ones where you just sit down and you can kind of just like passively just experience it?
I like to sit down and see something that's different that I haven't
Yeah.
seen before, and maybe that's why I tend towards that sort of thing. That um, I don't want to see everyday life. I don't want to
Yeah.
see everyday
Mm,
life. It
okay.
just doesn't interest me at all. It's yeah, like when I grew up as a kid, watching something like Neighbours or Summer or Home and Away would be like the worst thing ever to me because it's
Oh,
like, why would I
really?
want to watch
Mm,
that? That would be like watching everyday life. Why on earth would I want to watch that? So I prefer things that are outside of
mm.
my normal living experience. So that's why I enjoy those so much. It's the same like with cooking. I don't like to go out for a meal where I could cook it myself.
Yeah.
It has to
Yeah.
be something I can't cook. So yeah, it's about having an ex like I think that's the same with books. That's probably why I love Harry Potter so much and fantasy books and things like that outside of myself. So, and I have to be really careful because sometimes I read things particularly like with romance books or romance TV shows, like the last season of Bridgerton, I find them so toxic in a romance. I just think that is not what romance is. And oh my God, are
Mm,
we teaching young women this is what romance is, that a guy treats you really awfully and then all of a sudden you're in love with him and I can't bear it. I yell at the TV screen. I can't bear it.
But you know, an interesting fact about that, because I have read the Bridgerton books, is they actually soften some of the male characters for the TV because in the books they're even more toxic.
Oh, just
mm,
horrible. And like I know I'm going a bit off topic, but like with the last season of Bridgerton, that was right in the middle of the Prince Andrew stuff that was going
Yeah.
on. And I felt that character was Prince Andrew. And I'm
mm.
and they're
Interesting.
making him into the love interest. Oh. So yeah, so I don't like that sort of stuff. So anyway, I still watched it, but to keep up with the zeitgeist, I suppose.
Luke, what's your TV or movie recommendation?
I actually am really glad that we are recording this when we are because
Oh,
I need some insight from you guys and some context.
Hmm.
My partner and I are watching a TV show now that I have heard about all my life. From everything that I can understand about it, it was very culturally significant.
Ooh.
It was a household name.
Hmm.
It sounds like it's certain periods of time akin to like the Simpsons level of household name.
Hmm.
And we were kind of just looking for some more kind of easy, kind of sitcom-y things to just watch and enjoy after like work. And we were just scrolling down and we found it and we kind of looked at each other and I was like, did you ever watch this? And she was like, no, have you? And I was like, no. And we were just like, all right, let's give it a shot. And it's a show called Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just want to like I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. It's basically for those of you who don't know, like me, right? Because I think I came into the world a little bit later to the point where maybe when I was cognizant of TV shows, it had kind of stopped airing, at least
Mm,
in those kind of primetime spots. Because I remember when I was growing up, like you'd see it at like not that I was ever really up at 1 a.m., but it was one of those types of shows that was rerunning really
the
late in the
reruns.
evenings. It's about a family, like I think it's kind of about a dysfunctional family, but I kind of feel like it's more just a family that has like, varied hijinks and kind of a lot of 2000s kind of attitudes about various things. I just wanted to ask, like, was it as culturally significant as people are playing it up to be?
Not in my mind, it wasn't. It was just
Okay.
another one of those TV shows.
There were a lot of shows that had a similar format at the same
Mm.
time on TV then. So, um, I'm trying to think of them all, but there were lots of sitcoms of parents and kids and the dynamics between them that were kind of all happening at the same time. So I think it was more a reflection of like that type of show
That
was
era. It was
that
that
era,
era.
that
Yeah.
was what
Hmm.
was very culturally significant. And I do wonder if it was a representation of like what they were considering the modern family at the
Hmm.
time to be. Because you see less of those family sitcoms on TV now.
Yeah, it's interesting because whenever I would watch like a years and years ago when I'd watch like more like short form content like TikTok, people were always talking about like either clipping shorts of like scenes from it or like talking about
Mm-hmm.
how important it was in the 2000s. And I think it's so interesting. And yet, because it skipped by me, I was just wondering if that was something that like it was somewhat of a household name. Like people knew that it was a popular show.
Oh, it definitely was a household name for my generation. Like
Hmm.
people knew it. People talked about the characters. Frankie Muniz, is that the
Yeah.
guy's name? Yeah, he was like very famous.
Has it got Bryan Cranston in it? Is he the dad?
Hmm.
Yes, yes. And
I
then
think
he
that's
went
why
on
it's
to
come
do
around. Yeah.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like such a character divorce of what he was in Malcolm in the Middle versus Breaking
Mm.
Bad, obviously.
Hmm.
Um, but it was something that people talked about and people watched. It was just and we didn't have streaming back then, so it was just one of the things that was on new TV and you'd watch it in
Hmm.
prime time.
It was that era of Full House and Married
Yeah,
with Children and
yeah.
all that sort of stuff around that time as well. And I wondered if it became popular again because of Bryan Cranston doing
Hmm.
Breaking Bad. That's where I thought it had the resurgence from. Because you know they've remade it at the moment.
Yeah, I was going
Yeah,
to say, I think it's probably more because the middle came out and the
yeah.
middle is like a recreation offshoot of it.
Mm.
So I feel like people have watched the middle and are potentially going back to now watch Malcolm in the Middle.
Because
Hmm.
even Roseanne, that was all at the
Yeah,
same time, all those shows.
I feel like they were all earlier.
Or
Full
were they?
House, Roseanne.
But that's where it all comes from, though.
Yeah,
It's that sort of sitcom that,
yeah,
Friends and it's that sort of that was that time of sitcoms that they
yeah.
did. Trying to think today what a sitcom would be matching that. I can't think of anything that would be similar to that nowadays.
Well, they've got them, but I think it's just now they're all on streaming.
Mm,
Hmm.
Because I'm just thinking like Schitt's Creek would
yeah,
have been an example of something like that, but that
yeah.
took a while to gain an audience.
Yeah.
So there are those 20-minute kind of 25-minute shows that are on. streaming services. Big Mistake is another one by Dan Levy, or Levy. But yeah, there was so many. Home Alone, not Home Alone, Home Improvement. But I think that
Oh
was
yeah, Home
earlier
Improvement.
than
Yeah.
Malcolm in the Middle. There were quite a few. I just remember we would just sit and watch them, and they'd be on different nights so that you would watch a
Mm,
different one each night.
And then Modern Family came from that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
mm.
that sort
And
of
that
came
had a
up from
long
that.
run.
Yeah, it's I think because they're so easy to watch. You can watch an episode
And
and
they're
then
standalone.
yeah, they stand
Mm.
alone, and if you like the characters, they're funny and they can be sweet and they can be lesson learning as well. I don't know. They tend to be quite. Are you enjoying it? Do you like it?
I am enjoying it. One thing that's interesting about Malcolm in the Middle, which I haven't experienced in some of these other shows that we've referenced, is that in a lot of like those kind of shows, as you said, it's a standalone episode. So it's very much tit for tat. Like
Mm,
you start an episode, someone's done something wrong. Maybe they get away with it for a little bit in the middle, and then at the end, they like there's a conclusion and a moral at the end of it. But I think it emulates like the family system in a way which I think is fair, which is like it doesn't end like that all of the time. Like
Yeah.
there might be one episode where someone gets away with something and you're like, oh, I got away with it. And then in another episode, something happens to them and it was really unjustified. And you're like, I guess that's how they resolved that,
mhm.
which I think is very accurate to like a family. Like you get away with some things you don't. So
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. I think it's really smart writing. I think maybe because I don't know if this is a hot take, but maybe because it's early 2000s, a little less kind of overthinking about the writing meant that it could be a
Mm,
little bit more naturally funny.
Mm.
yeah.
Not in like an like like a very edgy way, but it just is a little bit naturally more funny.
And I think I'm not sure for that show, but I do remember watching like little videos. Improvisation by comedy actors back then was much more a thing. I think it is still
Mm,
now, but it's like in dramas they aren't allowed to improvise, and so sometimes those naturally funny moments are naturally funny because they come in the moment of those actors interacting, and particularly on those long sitcoms that they build rapport and chemistry and relationship with each other, they can be quite funny in the moment.
mm. So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it's good.
And I
Well,
was just
watch the middle next and see what you think.
Yeah, you're right. And you know what? I think it was actually we saw the middle on like Disney Plus and we were like, oh, did you ever watch the original? And that's what got us into watching the original.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
about you, Dash?
So mine is so different to both of you. And I kind of feel like I'll be like the nerdy one. But when I was growing up, Pride and Prejudice came out. And I think I was in grade six. I was in primary school. And it was again, and it was on the ABC. It had who played Mr. Darcy? Colin Firth, and Jennifer Eel played Lizzie Bennett. And we would watch it as a family, and we would have to wait for the episode to drop, and we would watch it as a family, and it was just like we loved it. I mean, we're predominantly a house of females, and then my poor dad. um anyway, the other Bennett sister is on
Mhm.
binge,
Mm.
and I watched it. There was no way that Scott was going to sit and watch that show with me, and absolutely loved it because it's the story of Mary. So Mary
Mm.
was like, I think the third sister, third oldest, and was always the sister that was disenfranchised and ignored and kind of was like, oh, Mary. And she was very bookish and very into playing music but wasn't good at it, and no one really wanted to dance with her, and all of the things that were the expectations of society. And so to have a show that then focuses on her as a character and her story, it's just really, and I think it is based on a book. I think the writer did a good job of kind of staying true to kind of the vibe of the time. And what I loved about the other Bennett sister is the original actress who played Mary came back to play Hill, the servant, in the household.
Mm.
And so it was just this like incredible dynamic. And she becomes like the advocate for Mary and is like, you kind of deserve more than this, and was like pushing her to try new life experiences. So I really enjoyed it. And I'll
Hmm.
probably read the book. But yeah, it is very, I don't know. I reckon people of my age will potentially go back and watch it because we grew up watching things like Sense and Sensibility and Pride and Prejudice and Emma as movies and TV shows.
I binged that entire series with my mum in one day.
Did I tell you to watch it? I can't remember.
It's my sister, and we could not stop. We just started watching. She was out of a medical procedure, and so we had a whole day to just spend, and then we just kept. And she's a baby boomer, and he's a Gen X, and we're just like another one, another one,
Yeah, because
another
they're
one, and we
short
just kept going.
episodes.
I think we went to about 11 at night. It was just so good. It's so good. Yeah.
And it's kind of, it's not high stakes. It's beautiful watching.
Mm.
It's, yeah,
It's filmed
I just,
beautifully.
it's filmed
Yeah.
beautifully. The scenery is amazing. There is ridiculousness in terms of the characters, which
Mm.
is entertaining. The actress who plays Caroline Bingley is amazing,
Yeah,
is
she's really good.
incredible. And even the actress that plays Mrs. Bennet is also incredible. But yeah, that's my recommendation for people who liked any of the Jane Austens. Don't feel bad that it wasn't written by Jane Austen. I think you will still like it.
Mm. It was wonderful.
I'm glad you liked it.
Wonderful. As soon as you said it, I thought, oh my God, that was so wonderful. Maybe because I'm one of four girls and you're one of
Yeah, I'm
three
one of three
girls.
girls.
So
And
you get the dynamic. You
the
get it.
marriage stuff does come up.
When you're with a group of girls, you
Ah,
understand it
you
very
understand the
clearly.
sister dynamic
Yeah,
very much,
very clearly.
very much so. Um, but yeah, then we were going to talk about an experience we've had
Mhm,
recently. So,
mhm.
anyone want to go first?
Last night I was cooking with my nephew, who is
Oh.
4 years old. And we were his mum's birthday's coming up and she wants a funfetti cake for her birthday. So I said, let's do a test because I got a recipe off ChatGPT. Let's do a test of what this cake could be. And it's so cute. We put him into an apron that has bees all over it, and it was like down to
Mm.
his toes, and he was all strapped up. And then I have all these because I've cooked so much with my nieces and nephews. I have sort of child side sort of stuff, and then with like I get the eggs and I break the eggs and then give him the egg beater, and he's sort of beating it, and it was just so sweet to watch him cook with me and spill things and there's stuff all over the ground and like he goes to mix something and the stuff goes flying and it's like who cares, and then we're putting the funfetti in, which is basically hundreds and thousands that but don't disappear into the recipe so you can see the color, and like we put some in and then he's like we've got to put more in, so we put more in, then we put more in, we put way too much in, but it's just I don't know. There's no sort of rules when you cook with a child, and
Mm.
it's just, keep checking if it's cooked, go have a look and see if it's cooked. It was so much fun. And then when it comes out of the oven and cooling it, it's like every 5 minutes, is it ready to eat yet? Is it ready to eat yet? Yes, okay, we'll eat it hot. It'll be fine. So that was my beautiful experience last
Is he
night.
going to help you cook the real one?
No. It's a big, significant birthday. It has to be perfect, so no.
I was gonna say, I feel like cooking, one of the major like elements of good cooking is balance,
Yeah,
but that's not part of
it's
that
not balanced
experience.
at all, but it's
No.
so much fun. And the cake
Yeah.
was fine. It was probably a little bit undercooked because we put too much funfetti into it, so it sort of all melted through. Still delicious. So,
Oh yeah, I bet.
I don't
so
mind
no.
an undercooked cake, to be honest, the gooiness of it.
Mm.
So still delicious. So oh God, that those experiences, I will always remember that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, and I was
So will
reminiscing then
he.
about my other nieces and nephews and the times we used to cook and, create Kit Kat cakes and do all sorts of stuff. It's just such a beautiful time. Anyway, how about you two? What experience have you had recently?
I think I've referenced before that like one kind of, I guess, anti-technology kind of hobby I've got now is playing solitaire with myself.
Oh, yeah.
That's something I think I've referenced before. But over the last couple months, I've been spending a lot of time playing a card game called Cambio with my um, partner's family. And it's just been so much fun. You don't have to play Cambio specifically, but just playing card games with like friends or family. It's so funny how all you need is a deck of cards, and it's some of the most entertaining experiences you will have.
Mm,
What
mm.
is Cambio?
It's kind of hard to explain, but it's basically each person gets four cards face down that you memorize,
Oh God.
and each card like that you draw a card and you can kind of switch it with your four cards, and the idea is to get the lowest hand possible. And when you think you've got the lowest hand possible, you call Cambio and you do one more round, and then everyone reveals their cards, and whoever's got the lowest card, like the lowest card amount, wins. And there's ways to get like rid of your cards. There's every card has like a power, so you can like see other people's cards, swap your cards with other people's. And so it's just a really fun game of like memory and strategy and sabotage. And it's a relatively quick game as well, which is really fun. But I just think playing any card game, I, I've I think I've really underrated how much fun that is.
I
Wow.
think the sabotage is probably what would really get me in, grip me into it, and what would make me laugh the hardest.
Oh, absolutely. And because the idea is like you don't know other people's cards, but you have to watch when they're drawing cards and switching their cards around, which ones are they keeping? Because those are the ones that are probably pretty good. And when someone like gets rid of their cards and you think that they're like doing well, you sabotage them, and then all of a sudden they're in like probably in last. And it's just so funny watching people that are normally quite deadpan, like how animated they can get. It's so much fun.
Oh, I feel like I wouldn't be very good at that game because I always find it hard to keep track of. I'm very good at keeping track of things for myself, but what's happening with other people's hands, I'm like, anyway.
Yeah, it's I don't know, I feel like a bit of adrenaline kicks in, so it makes it a bit
Mm,
easier.
mm.
But
Okay.
yeah, it's funny because there are a few people there that yeah, the memory isn't great, and then they make a move that's the incorrect move, and it's
And
that
everyone's
also
like, oh my God.
I can't believe you just got rid of your best card by accident.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. It's really, really man, I want to play some now. That's it's such a good game. But card games, that's an experience I've rekindled, I
Yeah.
suppose. What about you, Dash?
Well, one of my friends is a very well-known opera director in Australia. Her name's Sarah Giles, and she brought to our attention that her one of her operas in Melbourne was having its last run. So we went and saw La Traviata, which is a Verdi opera. Took Scott with me. It was at the Regent Theatre. I love the Regent Theatre. It's so beautiful. And I hadn't seen that opera before. I had heard some of the music before, but hadn't seen it. And it was incredible
Mm.
just because you're sitting there. I mean, it went for 2.5 hours and you did get an intermission. And I think like just things for people who might not have gone to an opera for a while, like when I went to opera as a kid, because my mum and dad sometimes took us, there weren't, if it was in a different language, you couldn't understand it, right? And so you did have to read the program to understand what was happening. And you still get that. But now they have subtitles. So you can like
Mm.
read along to the song.
Mm.
So you understand the dynamics a lot better. Um, but one of the things I do love about Sarah's operas and any of Sarah's shows actually is that she very much privileges the woman. And so even if it's a traditional um, opera, it's like, well, how do you privilege the voice of the woman, or how do you really highlight the plight of the woman in this situation? So I like that kind of nothing changes. It's not like she changes the songs or anything, but I like the emphasis on that a little bit. But it was really interesting because firstly, you're not meant to use phones, obviously, and you get told off. But I was having low blood sugar, and so then my phone and devices are all beeping at me, and I was like, I don't know how to turn them off. So that was stressful. But the other thing that came up on my feed is Noah Wiley. I don't know if you know him. He was in ER and now is an actor in The Pit. And he was talking about the rise of TV shows and movies that are basically AI produced. And someone said to him, what do you think people will gravitate back to if they don't want that? And he actually said, I think people will go to live theatre or live performances because you can't fake that. Like AI can't do that. That is actors and it's all immersive. And so I was like, oh, I wonder if our generations and the next generations are going to actually seek this out a bit more, because there's this big conversation about opera is dying, and Timothy Chalamet talked about ballet dying and all of those kind of things. But I do wonder, as people get suspicious of things that are just generic or on their streaming services, whether people will be like, no, I want something real and I'm going to go back to live shows. But anyway, I really enjoyed it.
Was that on your mind when you were watching it? Like, this can't be faked, or were you just kind of like just appreciating just what it was?
Well, there was just some stuff that was like, from a production perspective, so creative and so I don't know, like it was real and in front of you. Like there was no special green screen effects or animate, like what do we CGI or any of that. That did not exist. So there is this one particular scene at the very end, the person dies. I don't think I'm giving a spoiler. It's a very old opera. The person dies, and how they did that transition from life to death, how Sarah directed that was extraordinary. And so I was like, got like tingles watching it. Whereas I feel like in a TV show, there would have been so much CGI trickery that could happen in that situation that, I don't know, it doesn't always land for me in the same way. So yeah, that was my experience. So I would recommend, I mean, the show's finished in Melbourne, but I would recommend going to see something live.
Did it bring you to tears?
It didn't bring me to tears, but that might have been because I was having low blood sugar at the time. Towards the end, it was very frustrating because I wanted to concentrate, and then I was like, "Oh my God, I've got to drink lemonade and like shove some lollies without disturbing the audience." But you know what? The other thing, but it was very emotional. It is a very emotional opera, and it's very kind of like Moulin Rouge, as they talk about it. It's kind of like Moulin Rouge meets Pretty Women kind of vibe. But the other thing that was extraordinary is watching what people wear to the opera these days. And so there were some people who were dressed to the nines and others who were like in jeans and a t-shirt. And I was like, oh, this is really fascinating, because back in the day, it would have been like you had to really dress up for the opera. And now it's like people are coming in whatever they want.
It's true. Dressing up for the opera and the ballet, the two big ones that people would dress up for.
Yeah. And there were seriously some people in like black tie.
Oh, yeah. And you're wearing your best jewelry and your hair's done and your makeup's done. Yeah.
I do think there was an event or a special group of people who were there, because it was the second night that I went to, but second final night, sorry. But yeah, it was pretty amazing. But it was for the most part, older crowd. So I think we need more young people going to see these shows.
Was it quite expensive?
Well, you know what? I don't feel like you don't have to buy the most expensive ticket. And I think compared to other things that we may spend money on, I didn't feel like it was too expensive.
Yeah.
And the thing about the Regent Theatre is that like we bought tickets that weren't that expensive, but still had a really great view of the stage, didn't feel like anything was blocked. And so, yeah, it was good.
Just as you're talking about that, though, it's making me think about the younger generations. They are spending the money, but they're going to see Taylor Swift and Harry
Yeah,
Styles and spending
Mm.
$1,500 on a ticket. Or I've got a girlfriend who's got a BTS ticket for $1,000.
stop it.
Just no, yeah, yeah,
Is that
massive.
a legit ticket? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what they
legit
priced
ticket.
it at?
Well, it's in a box with, food and
Oh,
drinks and things
okay.
like that.
Mm.
But
Premium,
yeah,
premium
premium,
experience.
premium ticket. But it's yeah, they are spending the money. They are spending the money, but they're going to not the traditional things as much, I think. But they definitely are going to performances. There's no doubt about it. You
Mm.
know,
And I
you
do think that's important, but I do also wonder like what the younger generation is missing out if they're not going to theatre or opera.
well, hopefully as they age, they might end up at theatre and opera. And because I
Yeah,
didn't appreciate that sort of classical music till probably my 30s, and then all of a sudden I love that sort of stuff. So as your tastes develop and you see more of it in pop culture reference, like if you
yeah,
think about Vivaldi's Four Seasons, one of the experiences at the moment in Melbourne is you go along to the Immigration Museum and you sit on beanbags while Vivaldi's Four Seasons plays with a light show.
Mm.
And they've sold over 1.5 million tickets to that already in Melbourne alone. So it's just like, it's it they are going, but it might be a slightly different experience for it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
so hopefully they'll go because you don't want to see that sort of thing die. It's unbelievable how, yeah, like you just said, what an incredible experience to see. Now I'm thinking, why didn't I go see it?
we'll go to the next one.
Yeah, why didn't I go?
But Luke, would you go to the opera or live theatre?
Yeah, for sure. I think I was just thinking about what Fee was saying, and I do remember because I used to go quite a bit because my mum was really into it,
Mm,
and I remember I would have been like maybe 9 or 10, and I went and saw Billy Elliot, and
Oh,
I and
yeah.
I
yeah,
I'm almost certain 90% of it was lost on me.
yeah.
Like I wouldn't
Yeah,
have really appreciated it then. And I was just trying to think of, okay, well, what else would it be? I think there is still a real demand, like for younger generations, for like live entertainment, but I think it's more probably like sports,
Mm,
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 which
hmm,
is, again, it's probably equally as pricey at certain points.
mm,
But definitely, I think even Jolie and I were talking about like budgeting so that we can like fly up to Melbourne to go and see some like live events like that.
mm,
yeah.
yeah.
And it's interesting you bring up the sports one, right? Because my sister and her family, they go for Collingwood, and Scott goes for Melbourne, and King's birthday weekend
Mm.
is the big Melbourne Collingwoods game.
Oh, yeah.
And the tickets are so expensive and sold out so quickly
Mm.
that they couldn't get it. So we booked the cinema room in our apartment complex and we're going to watch it on the big screen.
Ah,
Oh,
how
that's
great.
nice.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to watch it because I don't like football. They will watch it. I will come when the pizza arrives. But I do think sport is super expensive. And I think
Mm,
people just don't realize like the different costs. And you can go sometimes and like if you subscribe, and actually if you're under 30, or is it under 40, you get special deals with some of these
Hmm.
things.
okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure for a while, like for the MSO and stuff like that, if you're under 30, you get really discounted pricing
Just to get you there.
just to get you there.
Oh, how fantastic.
Yeah.
Hmm.